meeting, our time of prayer in which we just lift up those things that are on our heart, those things that we're burdened about, those things that we know that God can indeed handle. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, as you're getting near the end of that wonderful little book to this wonderful little church that done a lot of wonderful and amazing things, you start getting into a lot of practicalities. Paul's giving them some things of truth that are of a practical nature that they can take and apply in their everyday life as they live the life of testimony and truth for the Lord. And as he's given them these practical words of truth and advice, he says a rather short, pithy verse that I know we have all heard. 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 17, pray without ceasing. To pray without ceasing. I remember when I was younger and I would hear that, I would think, man, pray without ceasing? So I'm to be walking around mumbling under my breath all day long. I thought in my mind that's what Paul meant here, but in reality, while not necessarily you should be walking around mumbling under your breath, it does indicate some things that you should be doing on a continual basis, chief amongst them, leaning on the Lord, looking to the Lord and calling out to the Lord for His grace and strength each and every day in each and every moment. As I was thinking about that verse and kind of meditating upon it, I thought, you know what, if we are to pray without ceasing, that's going to manifest a continued humility and dependence upon God. A continued humility, knowing that there's not anything that we can go and anything that we can do and anything that we can face and say, oh, I don't need God on this one. He can set this one out. I got it. No. A continued humility. We're praying without ceasing. We're continually looking to Him and leaning upon Him. Lord, help me with each step I take. Help me with each discussion I have. Help me with each action I do to honor You. A continued humility before the Lord, but a dependence upon the Lord as well. I don't know when I know we sang it before, and I know many of you probably heard it. There's an old gospel song. It's called I Can't Even Walk Without You Holding My Hand. And I thought about that continued dependence. Lord, I can't even walk. There's nothing that I can do of my own strength and of my own accord to give You the honor and glory You deserve, except that I walk holding Your hand. And that holding of the Lord's hand is in fellowship, but in communion in prayer. So if you look at praying without ceasing, there's this continued humility and dependence. There's also this continued trust in the Lord. You know that the God of yesterday is the God of today. And you know the God that answered those prayers the other day and the other time can still answer them this time. God doesn't change. He is the same God of the old as the new and as the now. Right? God doesn't change, and as we continue to live life and get older in life, we continue to look to Him, trusting and believing that He can still do anything that He desires to do and that we reach out to Him for. I thought about that when I was young and a little bitty kid. I used to pray these little prayers, and they weren't anything special or elaborate that would wow a theologian. They were just simple little things, and yet they were pretty quick. You know, if I did a minute-long prayer or a 2-minute-long prayer, man, I was setting the world on fire, you know. But what I have found is that as I grow older, I can still go to the Lord, and sometimes it's those hasty quickies, right? Those hasty quickies. Lord, help me. I don't know what to do right here. Sometimes there's a longer, more elaborate time where I get to just feast on the fellowship with the Lord. Sometimes they're here in the morning, sometimes they're in the evening, sometimes they're during lunch, sometimes they're just throughout the day, all day, because I know that I need the Lord and I can indeed trust in the Lord. Well, if you look at praying without ceasing, there's this continued humility and dependence, this continued trust, and there's this continued faithfulness of God. No matter what, if you're praying without ceasing, that means He's always going to be there. That means He's always going to be there. You're never going to pray to Him and, well, He's out for lunch at the time. No. If you're praying without ceasing, and He's telling us in His holy word to make sure that you're praying without ceasing, He's declaring, I will be there to hear that prayer. I will be there to hear that prayer, and I'll be there to answer that prayer according to my will if you'll just what? Pray without ceasing. And I hope and pray that as God's people, we go forth and that we're a praying people, not just here now, not just while we're doing this prayer meeting, but every day of our life as we go forth living for Him and leaning upon Him for His power